Welcome back to the Explainer, where we get right into the tech that matters.
All right, Kubernetes 1.35 is on its way, and it's packed with some pretty critical updates. We're talking about changes that are really going to fine-tune how we all manage our containers.
So what's really changing? And more importantly, why should you care? Let's cut through all the jargon and get straight to what this means for your clusters, day in and day out.
Okay, so the big theme here, making Kubernetes way smarter, a lot safer, and just more stable for the crazy modern workloads we're all throwing at it. Think of it as a major tune-up, but also with some powerful new engines under the hood.
First things first, let's talk about what's getting the boot. Yeah, I know, it's not as flashy as new features, but cleaning house is super important for keeping the project healthy in the long run.
Okay, the first big goodbye is to cgroup v1 support. And trust me, this is a huge deal. If you're running nodes on older Linux distros, you've got to pay attention to this one. Seriously, the kubelet just won't even start.
So, why the big push? Well, this slide really lays it out. Think of cgroup v1 as, a bit of a messy garage. It worked, but things were all over the place. cgroup v2 is like a brand new unified tool chest. Everything has its place, it's way more efficient, and it's the foundation for all the cool new stuff Kubernetes wants to build.
And the cleanup doesn't stop there. kube-proxy's ipvs mode, it's on its way out. It just got too complicated to keep up with the other modes. Oh, and here's a big one. This is your final warning for containerd 1.x. Support is officially over. You have to get on version 2.0 or later before you even think about the next KX release.
All right, enough about what's going away. Let's get to the good stuff. What's new? And wow, this release has some seriously powerful scheduling features, built specifically for those massive complex jobs we're seeing more and more of.
Okay, so have you ever been there? You kick off a huge AI or batch job and nothing. Some pods start up, but others are just stuck waiting for resources. It's a total deadlock. The pods that did start are just sitting around, twiddling their thumbs and burning through your cloud budget. It's frustrating.
Well, say hello to gang scheduling. This is the fix for that exact headache. It's a simple idea, really. All or nothing. The scheduler looks at your whole group of pods, the gang, and only schedules them if there's room for every single one. No more half-baked deployments, no more wasted cache.
All right, here's another one I bet you've run into, especially during upgrades. A pod lands on a node and then immediately fails. Why? Because that node is just a little bit older and doesn't have a feature the pod needs. That classic version skew problem.
And the solution is just so smart. It's called node declared features. Basically, every node now tells the control plane exactly what it can do, what features it has. So the scheduler isn't guessing anymore. It knows for a fact where a pod can and can't go. It's automatic, it's safer, and it just works.
Now this next one is a real game changer for how we handle node taints. You know how tolerations have always been pretty basic, like does this label exist or is it equal to this value? Well, get ready for a math upgrade. We can now use greater than and less than. It's awesome.
So what does that actually let you do? Well, check out this example. You can put a taint on your nodes with their SLA value. Then you can tell your super important pod, hey, you're only allowed to run on nodes with an SLA greater than 950. And the best part? The no execute effect means if that node's SLA ever dips, Kubernetes will automatically kick the pod off. I mean, how cool is that? That is some next level dynamic control.
Okay, moving on from scheduling. This release is also packed with some major upgrades for security and just making our lives easier operationally. They're tackling some really old pain points here.
So, let's talk about storage and CSI drivers. For a long time, getting sensitive stuff like service account tokens to them was, well, kind of sketchy. The tokens were passed in a field that was never meant for secrets, which meant they could easily end up in logs. Yeah, not good. A big security hole. The fix is simple but so important. There's now a new dedicated secrets field just for this. CSI driver authors can start using it, and it guarantees that sensitive info is handled securely and, crucially, never ever shows up in your logs. It's a small change that patches a big hole. Impersonation is super useful, right? But it's also been a bit of a security landmine. In the past, if you could impersonate someone, you could do everything they could do. Yikes. Now we have constrained impersonation. Think of it like a two-key system. You need the key to impersonate the user, and you need the key for the specific action you want to take. No more accidental superuser powers. All right, here's a deep cut for you.
You know how core things like the API server need to be on the host network? But for security, you really want to wrap them in a user namespace for isolation. For the longest time, you had to pick one. You couldn't have both.
Well, guess what? Now you can. It's a new alpha feature, but it finally breaks down that wall. You can get the host networking you need and the user namespace isolation you want. It's the best of both worlds for securing your control plane.
Phew. Okay. We've gone through a lot. Deprecations, scheduling, security. So let's pull it all together. What's the big picture here? What does this all mean for you?
So if you boil it all down, a few big ideas really stand out. First, scheduling is getting way smarter to handle the monster jobs we run today. Second, there's a huge focus on locking things down and improving security. And finally, by getting rid of old junk, the whole platform is just becoming more stable and reliable for all of us.
So when can you get your hands on all this? Go ahead and circle it on your calendar. December 17th, 2025. That's the day it's all scheduled to drop.
And that really leaves you wondering, right? As Kubernetes gets stronger, safer, and smarter, as it gets better and better at handling these massive AI and data jobs, what's next? What new kinds of problems are we going to be able to solve with this thing? It really makes you think about where cloud native is headed.